Once upon a time, I had a business that coached doctors and naturopaths on how to expand their practice and grow their revenues. That business venture was shut down due to a business partner who lost in a non-compete suit. So we had to shut down the program, but it was awesome. And at the conference that we threw in Plano, Texas, we had just about 80 doctors present at this with a bunch of sponsors as well. But we had somebody speak on stage that was a very, very good marketer. People were in love with his work. I fell in love with his presentation. I loved what he stood for. And I went out in the hallway and talked to him afterwards to kind of get to know him better and see how we could work together. And we worked out, an awesome, we could see the opportunity. We really liked each other's philosophies. The pages in the relationship book were just turning madly. We're like, man, this is really great. This is really great. But the devil's always in the details. So is the success. So instead of making knee jerking reactions on who you're hiring and just diving in because man, everybody loves him and he comes highly recommended and here he is on stage in front of a bunch of doctors. He's already working with many of them. There was a lot of really great science. There was a lot of reasons why we would want to work with this guy. So we started to work with him. And when we worked with the first client, the campaign that they came up with, I instantly saw why he was driving the results he was driving. But I also saw how he was setting all of these doctors' offices' reputation on fire with flames that soared to the sky. Now, why would I say that? And why is that the case? Well, it's pretty simple. He was following really sound marketing principles, but here's the problem. You can take a very ethical person, and that ethical person, if they choose to rob banks on the side, that's a problem you need to be aware of. You can take an ethical person. Turns out they're doing heroin and they're addicted to it and they're not able to produce. You can take an ethical person, somebody who's a good person, and if they kill somebody, that kind of takes your reputation downhill a lot. So you have to be aware that we're all human. We all have our problems, but there are certain problems that are more grave than others. So here's what happened. The doctor that he was going to launch our campaigns for he was going to put the same landing page up for them that he apparently put up for all the doctors. And on the landing page, everything was great about it except for one thing. And the one thing that he was using in order to drive the extreme results that he was driving was the message that said, we'll only take on the first 3 people who move forward with this offer. Now, I don't understand you. If you think that that's okay to do, that is a complete lie and unethical. Unless you're absolutely only taking 3 on, why would you sacrifice your integrity and your reputation in order to gain a quick buck? That is not how Tony Robbins and Oprah and the world leaders get to where they are. Not the world leaders that you want to follow, not the ones that you want to be like. I don't think. That's not who I want to be like. I don't want to be like somebody who's going to scam people over and over. I know that you're thinking of some of those. You're thinking of some of those people. Well, they made it to success. And they were unethical. Listen, I'll pick on Jordan Belfort since he was willing to do it himself in his movie, The Wolf of Wall Street. I would never want my life to be like that. So let me get off my soapbox and go back to the reality of you and I and our conversation here for your marketing. You got to make sure that the marketers that you work with understand that you aren't willing to make ethical sacrifices. You aren't willing to sacrifice your morals, your values, your ethics, your reputation, your integrity, what you stand for in order to win. When I confronted this gentleman about that exact scenario, he was a little bit squeamish at first. And then as he tried to defend it, he became uncomfortable. And as he realized that I wasn't going to let it go and that I was going to require that we find another source of scarcity, another source of urgency to drive this forward, I could see the deer in the headlights look. And then I could see the frustration building, followed by the anger, followed by the desire to push me out of his circles in all regards. Why? Because he wanted to choose to remain unethical with that particular practice. Now, this guy does a lot of great work out there. He helps people worldwide. He's a very good person, but he's doing a very bad thing in that regard. And what's happening to those doctors over time is they may not recognize that funnel is manipulative and controlling. But what's happening over time is as that continues to run in a local market where that doctor's reputation means everything to them for their business to be able to scale because they cannot scale globally like this marketer can. Over time, your customers start to see that over and over, and they start to question the integrity of your practice. They start to they will question the integrity of your service. They will look at that and they will no longer trust your judgment. A lot of them will feel manipulated and they'll start talking to friends and family members. They'll start leaving you 1-star reviews about the falsehoods that you're putting out there regarding your offer. It's so important that you protect your reputation and your integrity for the sake of being a good human being, for one. But two, I promise you, it will lead to you crashing and burning at some point, especially if you're a local business. Now, if you're a marketer and you feel threatened by that, man, woman, whoever you are, I challenge you to do a better job. I challenge you to take a higher road. You can still drive amazing success for people. I don't have any problem driving success for people while being ethical. It takes more diligence on your part as a marketer to not manipulate the audience in ways that aren't fair. Make sure you're being fair. Make sure that you're following the guidelines. It's not even a matter of guidelines. Great people don't need guidelines in order to be ethical. They follow ethics because they want to be their best self. So please do that. And if you're a business owner, make sure that you go through this course really well, and that you start to understand the principles so that you can protect yourself. Also, I would challenge you, don't get mad at people like this who have this problem or who feel attracted to a certain style of manipulation. Perhaps it doesn't make them a bad person. Give them a chance to overcome that. There's plenty of times where I come up with a marketing concept for a particular company. For instance, in the mortgage industry, I might want to talk about the lowest possible rates available, but if there are compliance issues with that, and I don't know about the compliance issue, then it's not necessarily. I'm not trying to be unethical. I'm just trying to compete, and I'm trying to. And I found out that in the mortgage industry, a lot of people cheat. But I also found out that my clients' competitors were getting $100,000 fines for making those mistakes. I don't want to be the marketer that causes that type of fine. So it's a delicate balance of being patient and understanding. It's a delicate balance of learning how to resolve conflict and talk about conflict in a way that's healthy, and being a good enough leader to be able to help inspire them to do so. So this lesson, this course content for Copy That Converts, is about making sure that you know what principles people need to follow, and you can start looking out for, all right, are we pulling these principles together in a way where the entire marketing solution is building a bridge that people will cross that isn't dangerous for them, that isn't manipulative, and that gets them to the result that they desire and the result that they need? If that's the case, then you're winning. And if you're constantly looking for that, also be forgiving of yourself and be forgiving of the team members who may make mistakes along the process, because they may have been trained by unethical individuals and they may just need a little bit of refinement in order to work out the kinks and get the results that you want. What you've seen in the world is companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, these large companies that have made it to that level. I promise you, they have all strived to be completely ethical and be completely clear about what it is that they're doing. And anytime they get called out, like Facebook has in recent years, for being unethical or doing bad things, Mark Zuckerberg and his team has gone to the ends of the earth and back, spent over $1 billion on trying to make sure that people understand they do care about privacy, and they are trying very hard. And if he ever stops doing that, if he ever starts manipulating people, guess what happens to that empire and that his sphere of influence? Whoop, it'll start to shrink. Don't shrink your sphere of influence. Don't ruin your venture before it gets started by building unethically. Always be looking at, how do I make this attractive and irresistible, and do so in an ethical manner? And how do I inspire my team members to learn what truly draws attention, what truly inspires people to move forward? And you'll be in a lot better shape as a company. I look forward to seeing you succeed with your legacy, and enjoy the content ahead. Bye-bye.